Tom Tikka is here with us now. How are you today?
Doing good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing alright. Now, out tomorrow, you have a new single called Just Like Christmas. So, can you tell us a bit about that? How did that song come about?
It was written quite a long time ago, in 2013, and it came about. Um, well, it was the first Christmas in 2013. I had just gotten divorced, and it was
Yeah.
the first Christmas that I ever spent without the children.
Hmm.
And I was all by myself. And you can just imagine if you got a big family of I had four kids, and or I have six now. But back then I had four kids, and you get divorced and you use the children running around making noise,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're in a studio apartment all by yourself, and you can imagine it feels rather lonely. And so I was biding my time, playing the guitar, singing, going through the old standards, and pretty soon a melody came to me, and that's basically the song. The lyrics came to me. I went for a stroll later on, and basically a lot of the stuff that you hear in the lyrics, like me walking past the children's choir, actually happened. So.
How come it's taken 7 years from originally coming up with the idea to releasing it?
Well, at first it was just a very painful track for me to return to.
Hmm.
But time heals all wounds, and for a couple of years, I actually even forgot about it. And then every once in a while, when I'd be playing guitar around Christmas time, I'd play the song. So I'm remarried now, and so my wife said to me last August that how about that song that you play around the holidays. Oh, and is that yours? And I said, yeah, I wrote it a long time ago. And she said, well, how about recording it and releasing it this year? And I returned to it and realized that enough time had passed
Yeah.
for me to actually enjoy playing it. And that's more or less how the recording happened.
And did you think that you would always come up with a Christmas song, or have you stayed very much away from it over the years?
I always wanted to stay away from Christmas tunes.
Yeah.
I still have mixed feelings about them, to be honest with you. Because Christmas tunes were always something that Frank Sinatra
Yeah.
or Dean Martin would. I mean, they'd be the type of artists that would release Christmas tunes. The Rolling Stones didn't, so I
Yeah.
wanted to be Rolling Stones rather than them. So I never thought about writing one.
Yeah, and your musical upbringing, how did you first sort of get into music?
Well, my parents were listening to music all the time. If you know it, our family, if whoever was going to be part of our family, they'd be into music. My dad would come home from work every Friday, and he'd pour himself a stiff drink, and then the records would come out, and we'd listen to, well, all the great albums, by
Hmm.
the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, CCR, his era, very much his era. But I mean, I fell in love with those records, and listened to them today as well. The music was everywhere. Both my parents were very musical, and my granddad was a studio musician when he was young, and so it very much always ran in the family.
Yeah, well, is there anything that really inspires you to write music?
Well, I often get asked that, there's a lot of, every once in a while you read interviews where artists say that they write happy songs. For me, it's usually the shortcomings. If I have great tragedies in my life, I usually pick up the guitar. It's like a form of therapy almost. I never understood this before, but I've actually I've been in therapy now for a year or year and a half, and it's become very very clear to me that I've actually been in therapy ever since I was 6. That's when I started
Wow.
playing and writing. It's always been a form of therapy therapy for me to sit down and write. That's how I deal with the challenges that I have in my life. There's occasionally I write a happy song or a love song, but I would say 85% of the time it's basically the challenges and hardships that I go through that inspire me.
Do you think that putting your feelings in a song is sort of easier than perhaps talking to a therapist or a friend about problems?
Well, yeah, of course, but it's also very unfair. Because, and I'll tell you why. Because when you write a song, and let's say that you've been burnt by love,
Yeah.
it's a very one-sided view. It's
true.
because you're very much in control of what you write, and so if you're upset with somebody, whether it's for a good reason or not, that's going to bound to come out in the song. And so I always remind people who are listening that lots of times you do only get my version of the story, and to be fair, there's always two sides to every story.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself a particular genre?
It's always been difficult for me to figure out what my genre is. But I think that that's part of the reason for that is because the genre that I would feel most comfortable with doesn't really exist anymore.
Ooh.
I think if you listen to the music of the 60s and 70s, which is the stuff that my mom and dad, because that's the music of their youth, pop rock in those days was very eclectic, in the sense that quite a lot of different styles fit under that umbrella term, if you will. Whereas today, I think if you Google genres, I did this actually a couple of years ago when the Impersonators record company FBP, the Dennis Weitzel, who's the label head, wanted to know what our genre is, and so I wanted to see what all genres there are out there, and man, there were like 40, 50 genres. And I mean, even under punk, there were like 12 different genres. And I'm thinking like punk is punk. Come on, neo-punk, whatever. I mean, I'd lose my mind. I mean, there must be a guy somewhere there now, even now as we speak, trying to figure out what genre certain music is. But I don't envy that guy. It seems like it's an incredibly thankless job.
Definitely. And now you've talked about sort of having trouble writing about your personal life in songs, like the Christmas song taking you 7 years because it's sort of difficult to write about. What do you do to keep you going if you're struggling in that way?
Well, I mean, children will keep you going. I think that music will always keep me going, but it's mostly kids, and in the sense that we all hit these rough patches every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the beautiful things about having children is that you have these little kids that run around, call you dad, and kind of force you to get with the program. And especially if we go back 7 years and we go back to the moment where I wrote the song, the kids were the ones that kept me going.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've been divorced, but it's very difficult. It's a difficult process, and I'm hoping that I'll never have to go through that again.
Yeah.
It's not very pleasant.
No.
But you live and learn, and like I said,
There's a
time
lot
heals
of
all wounds.
he said, she said stuff, isn't there?
Oh yeah. Isn't it weird though? Because we talk to our children and we say things like, you're already 18. You're supposed to be able to handle your feelings like this, and you're supposed to be able to be the bigger neighbor. Well, when people in their 30s get divorced, that's basically what they become, children again.
Exactly.
They're reduced to being two.
Anyway,
Anyway, right? Yeah.
do you have any big moments in your musical career that sort of stand out to you?
Well, I mean, there are certain ones. I'm very proud of Carmen Gray's "Skates of Loneliness," which became a really, really big hit in Scandinavia, and also very proud of "Burning Blue," the Impersonators track,
Yeah.
which became iTunes, I think number 7 on the iTunes charts in Sweden, and then there's the previous single that hit number 1 in South Africa. But the career's been pretty, I've been very fortunate in the sense that there's been some success, and I'm very, very grateful for that. But I think that the true high moments, if I think in terms of what I appreciate the most, is basically in Carmen Gray. I got to write with my brother, which is something that I treasure. Most brothers don't get to write music together and experience fame and success together and sort of become even closer because of that. My brother and I got that opportunity, and I think that was wonderful. Nowadays I'm collaborating with my wife, which is another incredibly cool thing. I just told her a couple of nights ago that most marriages aren't like this, because I feel very fortunate. It's a great extra thing to have in a relationship, to have a person that you can truly collaborate with.
Definitely. And do you think that in the future you will bring out more Christmas songs, or have you had enough for now?
No, I doubt that. I don't. I think it's going to be just the one, because it's been 7 years and I haven't written another one.
Oh no.
Christmas songs are tricky ones, because if the song isn't, if it doesn't cut the mustard, if it's not a good song, then it just becomes another Christmas ditty.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I always wanted to stay away. Hey, and you know what? I like this track, but there might be people out there who are listening to it and say that, well, why did you write another one of those Christmas ditties? Then please stop, All right. So who knows?
And this Christmas, do you have any plans at all? Is it going to be very different to normal?
My Christmas this year?
Yeah.
That's going to be probably very very traditional. All the children are going to be with me this Christmas, so it'll be a special Christmas actually. And I very much I'm looking forward to it actually for that reason. It's great because right now I have 6 boys, and so we're still like a family of 8, right?
Yeah.
And then the grandparents and what have you. But imagine one day when all these 6 boys are going to have wives and kids, how many of us there will be.
Yeah,
I just realized this when we were talking about this with my wife, and I said to her that I just realized that this is not a family, it's a clan,
Yeah.
Or it will be.
Definitely. I take it then restrictions over there with COVID aren't as strict as they are over here, because for us it looks like Christmas is going to be very limited indeed.
Well, it might get to that here as well.
Oh, right.
They're talking about a second lockdown, and I think the situation in Germany right now, which isn't that far away from Finland, is very, very difficult indeed. I don't know how it is in UK. Has the second wave truly hit? Or?
Yeah, we're in it, and England has gone into another lockdown today, and Wales is in the middle of one, and so is Northern Ireland, and then Scotland are in a kind of tier system with quite a lot of restrictions, but stuff's still open, but it depends on where you are. But Scotland will probably go into another full lockdown as well, to be honest.
Yeah, it's difficult for a lot of people. My mom, for instance, who's alone now because my dad's passed away, and it was difficult for her during the lockdown because just being by herself.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other side of it, is the mental health stuff, and some people it might be their final years and they're just kind of stuck at home.
Yeah, that's it. That it's difficult. Yeah. Man, I feel for them. Yeah.
But the one thing that can cheer them up is having a listen to Tom Tikka's new song, Just Like Christmas. And where are we able to listen to that song online when it's released?
It'll be released electronically. Yeah. I mean, it'll be on all streaming platforms, Spotify, iTunes, iMusic. You can find it on those, and then also on YouTube. There's a music video that's going to come out on Friday as well. Go check it out. It's out of all the music videos that I've done, we've done. My wife actually is the one who does those, or completes them, directs them, scripts them, films them, does everything. And so, but out of the ones that she's done, I think that's one of my favorite ones.
Awesome. And on social media, are you on there for us to keep up with any future music you've got coming up?
Well, the Christmas song's going to come out on Friday.
Okay.
And then the next EP that's going to be titled "That's What Winston Churchill Said" will come out in January.
Oh.
And it'll have 6 songs. And then there's going to be Carmen Gray album out. I'm sorry, the Impersonators album out in March, and another Tom Tikka and the Missing Hubcaps release in June.
Great.
So it'll be a busy year.
Yeah, sounds very exciting, and I'm sure we'll keep up with that. Thank you very much for coming on the show today, Tom.
No, thanks for having me.